Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss any important update from RAU'S IAS. Join the only official Telegram channel of RAU'S IAS Study Circle so as to get important notification and updates. Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we will take up MCQs based on important news and articles that are featured in the Hindu and Indian Express newspaper. Topics for today's discussion are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. Now the first question of today's discussion is based on this news which featured in the Hindu newspaper page number 1. News talks about G20 summit, and as we know that our Honorable Prime Minister has left for attending it, where he is set to meet with several world leaders. Now questions related to basic information regarding G20 and map based question based on Southeast Asia have already been covered in previous DPP sessions. And we know that this region, that is Southeast Asia, is home to two of the world's most important straits, which are major sea lanes of world trade. Now, as you know, UPSC has been asking questions based on important physical features related to important places in news. As in 2020, it has asked questions related to various rivers and the destination of their drainage. Now let's look into today's practice question. Question is, consider the following pairs. In first column, you have been provided with the names of important straits. And in the second column, you have been asked that how these straits are linked to different oceans and seas. So straits in questions are Gibraltar, Sunda, Malacca and Bab el-Mandeb. To solve this question, let us have a look at the world map. Now the first option is Strait of Gibraltar. It is a narrow strait that connects the Atlantic Ocean with the Mediterranean Sea, and it separates the Iberian Peninsula from the northwestern part of Africa and, to be specific, Morocco. Now the second option talks about the Sunda Strait. This is a strait between the Indonesian island of Java and Sumatra, and it connects the Java Sea with the Indian Ocean. Now the third option is Malacca Strait. Now this is one of the most significant strait in the world. It is a narrow stretch of water between the Malay Peninsula to the northeast and the Indonesian island of Sumatra to the southwest, and it connects Andaman Sea to the South China Sea. Now fourth option is Bab el-Mandeb. Now Bab el-Mandeb is a strait between Yemen on the Arabian Peninsula, that is here, and Djibouti and Eritrea in the Horn of Africa. It connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, and the description that has been given is more related to the Hormuz Strait, as it is the strait between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. So as we have seen that only option 2 and 3 are correctly matched, and you had to identify the pairs which are not correctly matched. So our answer would be B, that is only 2 pairs. Now answer for this previous year question is C, that is 3 and 4 only. Now the second question of today's discussion is based on this advertisement which featured on the Hindu newspaper page number 3. As we know, today is the birth anniversary of our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawahar Lal Nehru. We also celebrate this day as Children's Day. So let's take up today's question based on Jawahar Lal Nehru. Now as we all know, UPSC has been asking questions based on important personalities related to India's freedom struggle. As in 2019, UPSC has asked questions based on Mahatma Gandhi's contribution to the India's freedom struggle. Now let's have a look at today's practice MCQ. Question is, with reference to the role of Jawaharlal Nehru in the freedom struggle, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, in the non-cooperation movement, he organized the first Kisan March in the Pratapgarh in United Province. Now this statement is correct, as he was instrumental in organizing the first Kisan March in Pratapgarh in United Province. He later supported Gandhi's decision to end the non-cooperation movement also. Now the second statement says, along with Srinivasa Iyengar and Subhash Chandra Bose, he founded the Independence for India League. Now this statement is also correct, as he along with Srinivasa Iyengar and Subhash Chandra Bose founded the Independence for India League in the year 1928, which put forth the demand for complete independence. Now the third statement says he was the president of National Planning Commission set up in 1938. Now this is again a correct statement, as he drafted a resolution, Fundamental Rights and Economic Policy, in 1929, which had the core aims of the Congress and future of the nation. The resolution was ratified by the Congress Party in the Karachi session of 1931, which was chaired by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and Pandit Nehru became the first president of National Planning Commission set up in 1938 when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the president of the Congress. As you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Now answer for this previous year question is B, that is 1 and 3 only. Inspiration for our next question comes from this news which featured in the Hindu newspaper, page number 8. News talks about the reasons behind France pulling out of its military operations in Sahel region. Now at the crux of this news is the Operation Barkhane. Now France began this military operation in Sahel in January 2013. Initially it was titled as Sarwal, and it was limited to targeting Islamic extremists linked to the Al-Qaeda network, who took control of northern Mali. In 2014, the mission was scaled up and renamed Operation Barkhane and was aimed at counter-terrorism. And now, France has decided to pull out from its decade-long operation. So let's have a look at today's practice MCQ. Now, as you all know, important places in news have been a recurring theme in UPSC previous year examinations. As in 2018, UPSC has asked question based on important cities in news. Now let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question is, what is the correct sequence of occurrence of the following countries in Southeast Asia as one proceeds from west to east? The countries which are mentioned here are Eritrea, Sudan, Senegal and Mali. You have to arrange them when you will move from west to east. In order to answer this question, let's have a look at the map of Sahel region. Now the Sahel is a band of territory in Africa that stretches the length of the continent from the Atlantic coast of Senegal and Mauritania to the Red Sea coast of the Eritrea. Sahel region, which is shaded as light brown color, acts like a buffer or transition zone between the Sahara Desert in the north and the fertile savannas in the south. And as you can see here, that the westernmost country in this region is Senegal, then Mauritania, then Mali, then Niger, then Chad, then Sudan, and then Eritrea. So as we were asked to find the arrangement from west to east, the first country which will occur when we move from west to east is Senegal. The second country would be Mali, third country would be Sudan, and the fourth country would be Eritrea. 3, 4, 2, 1, and that means answer C would be the correct answer. Now answer for this previous year question is B, that is 1 and 4. The next question of today's discussion is based on this news which featured in the Indian Express newspaper, page number 14. The news talks about the Jharkhand government wish to put its recently passed bills under 9th schedule of the constitution so as to protect them from judicial review in order to provide 77% quota. Now you know that the 9th schedule contains a list of central and state laws that cannot be challenged in court. Currently, there are 284 such laws. The 9th schedule became part of the constitution in 1951. When it was created by the new article, that is 31B, which along with article 31A was inserted into the constitution to protect laws relating to agrarian reform and to abolish the zamindari system. While article 31A extends protection to class of laws, article 31B shields specific laws or enactments. Now as you know, schedules of the constitution form an important theme for UPSC preliminary examination. As in 2015, question was asked based on 5th and 6th schedule of the constitution. So let's have a look at today's practice MCQ. Now question says, which of the following pairs are correctly matched with respect to the schedules of the Constitution of India? Here you have been provided with list of schedules and here you are provided with list of articles. You have to find out that which of the pairs are correctly matched. Now there are some articles in the Constitution which are important from the perspective of preliminary as well as mains examination. And this question was framed to enable you to solve such factual questions based on elimination process. Now as you know, Article 1 relates to the name and territory of the Union, and it is part of Schedule 1 of the Constitution. So you can simply eliminate option 2, that is, 4th schedule contains Article 1 and 4, as the Article 1 and 4 are part of the 1st schedule. Now similarly, you can eliminate the option 1, that is, 1st schedule contains Article 4 and 80, which are in reality part of the 4th schedule of the Constitution and relates to the allocation of seats in the Council of State. By eliminating 1 and 2, you can eliminate the option A, option B and option C, and you can find your correct answer, that is D, 3, 4 and 5 only. Now as you know, first schedule relates to the states and union territory, while fourth schedule relates to allocation of seats in the Council of State. Whereas sixth schedule relates to the provision as to the administration of tribal areas in the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Whereas seventh schedule relates to the division of subjects in terms of union list, state list and concurrent list. And eighth schedule deals with the language. So as we have seen, our answer for this question is D, that is 3, 4 and 5 only. The answer for this previous year question is A, that is protect the interest of scheduled tribes. Source for our next question is based on this news which featured in the Indian Express newspaper, page number 14. In this news, author has highlighted the importance of agricultural exports. Author says that India's agriculture exports are growing but imports are growing faster. And in order to boost the farm trade surplus, that is more export than import, a focus on domestic production and new technology is warranted. Important development and facts related to agricultural sector have been recurring theme in UPSC preliminary examination. As in 2019, a question was asked regarding the largest exporter of rice in the world. Now let us have a look at today's practice MCQ. Question says, with reference to Indian economy, which of the following statement is correct? First statement says, India's export of basmati rice is more than that of marine products for the year 2021 and 22. Now this statement is incorrect, as India's export of basmati rice remains at around half of that of marine product, where share of marine products export lies at around $7,700 million. The share of basmati rice export lies around $3,500 million. Now second statement says share of vegetable oils in India's agri imports is the largest. Now this statement is the correct, as almost 60% of India's total agricultural imports is accounted for by a single commodity, that is vegetable oil. Vegetable oils are today's country's fifth biggest import item after petroleum, electronics, gold and coal. Now third statement says in 2021 and 22, India turned an overall exporter for cashews. Now this statement is again incorrect, as in few traditional items like cotton, cashew, India largely turned an importer in 2021 and 22. So as you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be C, that is 2 only. Now answer for this previous year question is B, that is India. Now the last question for today's discussion is based on this news which featured in the Indian Express newspaper, page number 1. The news talks about the speculation that at the end of the financial year 2022-23, the GDP rate, the retail inflation rate, the fiscal deficit and the repo rate will all converge at 6.5%. That is, all these rates would be same. Now previously UPSC has asked question based on various important economic terms related to monetary policy of the RBI. As in 2015 it has asked a question based on statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR. So let's have a look at today's practice question. Question says which of the following activities or event would negatively impact the GDP, that is gross domestic product of Indian economy. You have been provided with the list of activity and you have to select the correct answer from these quotes. So first statement says rise in Fed Reserve rates of USA. So whenever there is a rise in Fed Reserve, that is Central Bank of USA rates, there is an outflow of capital from India to major sectors of USA. This outflow restricts the investment capability on Indian sectors, thereby impacting GDP negatively. Now the second statement says changes in the special drawing rights share of India in IMF, that is SDR share of India in IMF. Now whenever there is a change in the share of SDR in any nation under IMF, there is no impact as such on the GDP of the nation. Third statement says unilateral sanction on major exporting nation. Now unilateral sanction imposed on the major exporting nations would restrict the international supply of crucial inputs, thereby increasing the global prices, and higher import prices of such good would impact the GDP of a country. For example, recent US sanction on the oil exporter Iran. So yes, unilateral sanction will impact GDP negatively. Now fourth statement says fall in the global prices of wheat. Now again, this will impact the GDP as India is a major wheat producer in the world, and surplus of this is exported under government permission. Any fall in the wheat price at the global level would impact the export from India, thereby impacting the GDP negatively. As you had to find the correct statements, our answer would be C, that is 1, 3 and 4 only. Now answer for this previous year question is C, that is scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. That's all for today. Stay tuned for more such updates.